10 News.
Promising new treatment for early-stage coronavirus has received emergency authorization from the FDA. Developed by Eli Lilly, it's been described as a kickstarter for the body's immune system. And joining us to talk about this therapy is Dr. Dennis Burton, immunologist and professor at Scripps Research. Dr. Burton, welcome.
Oh, great to be here.
And I know you've worked along similar lines, want to talk about that as well, but let's start off with the drug that is out there now. And the pronunciation, you had a good trick for, bamlanivimab is what it's called. Your thoughts on this particular therapy, would we call it a drug?
Yeah, you could call it a drug. People do call antibodies drugs. They're often used in cancer, for example, and described as drugs. Yeah, I think it's very promising. The data that's come out to date is promising. It's really for early stage COVID, and people at high risk. So people at high risk, if they take the antibody, then the chances of them going on to develop severe disease or hospitalization appear to be reduced from this study.
Is the idea of using antibodies fairly new, or is it something we've been doing for a while now?
No, we've been doing it for a while. I mean, actually, a very long time in terms of not monoclonal pure antibodies like this, but in terms of antibodies just taken directly from blood. They've been used against things like diphtheria going back to 1900. So the idea of using antibodies is not new.
We've seen with the vaccines, there are multiple lines of research and success that are taking place. In this case, I understand you have been in charge of another line of research by Scripps that also has had some promise.
Yes, Scripps, together with IRV and UCSD, we have developed some very potent antibodies against SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19, and we've licensed them. And we hope to see them develop commercially also.
With the vaccine, or not the vaccine, but the antibody treatment by Eli Lilly, they're talking about it working with those that have, as you said, a mild case of coronavirus, helping to kickstart the immune system so that they don't get worse. Describe how you would characterize your own vaccine studies and how it would work.
It would work the same as theirs. I mean, the problem with these antibodies is that it's difficult to get enough of them to treat very large numbers of patients. So I think there's lots of room for multiple antibodies, not just Eli Lilly or Regeneron, who are the two players currently, but others need to come as well. And hopefully they can, really benefit early stage patients.
How specific are the antibodies in our body? Do you have to develop a different one for each type of potential disease or virus that's out there?
Very specific. I mean, most of these antibodies would work against SARS-CoV-2, but they wouldn't work against the original SARS virus, CoV. So they're very specific.
And so if the SARS in its current state should mutate down the line, you would have to come up with a new antibody to go after it.
You might have to do that. That's one of the worries, that the virus will mutate and you will need newer antibodies. But some folks have been isolating antibodies that are more capable of dealing with resistance or escape, like you just described. They're called broadly neutralizing antibodies, and they're more promising to contain escape.
Dr. Dennis Burton, immunologist and a professor at Scripps Research, thank you for your insights about the Eli Lilly study and about your own work, and we look forward to hearing more about that.
Thanks for having me.
Virginia?